Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Craig Burley, Stevie Nicol and Stuart Robson. We'll kick things off by taking a look at Arsenal's activity this week in the transfer market. They've been somewhat behind Liverpool, haven't they, since everything kicked off this summer. However, suggestions that Madueke is a done deal, making an over £50 million move from Chelsea to Arsenal. Mr. Burley, does this get you excited?
Not really. I mean,
What does get you excited?
Should start with 18 holes around the best course in the world. There we are.
Ask me in about an hour. No, look, I think he's a good player, and obviously he's really come through in the last couple of years at Chelsea in the wider positions, and he's been one of their more consistent players at times at taking people on and running at people. We were just talking before we came on air. Could you sit here and say, even if he was at Chelsea next year, with the wide players that they've brought in, would he be a guaranteed starter? And I think that's up for debate. So you're spending a lot of money again on a player from Chelsea.
Does he start for Arsenal?
Well, he's predominantly played on the right, so he's not starting ahead of Saka. I would suggest that Martinelli on the other side has that slot until he shows maybe a lack of form or a lack of consistency. We've seen Trossard go out there. So, no, he's not a starter at Arsenal. So, to me, he's beefing up his squad here. Obviously, Norgard coming in from Brentford, who I think is a good signing at that money. I think he's a really, really solid, aggressive midfielder. But I think he's beefing up the squad for when needed. So, but that's a lot of money, and I understand that in a sense. But he's been in this... He has fished in the Chelsea pool, Kepa? Mm-hmm. Raheem Sterling, Kai Havertz, Jorginho, who originally did, at times did a decent job, but he seems to have gone to this particular pond quite a lot and hasn't had a lot of success. Havertz has been okay, but he hasn't taken them. Havertz hasn't taken them to the next level, and you have to ask the question: will Madueke in a wide position take them to the next level? And I don't think he does. I think he just beefs up the squad.
What does Madueke bring you? What are his qualities?
Well, for me, his best quality is the fact that when he gets in the final third, he'll take people on. That's what I like about him. I would say that the end product is not always as good as... he's one of those guys that when he gets it, you sit up because you go, you know what he's going to do. You know he's going to go at somebody. But then he can also stand on it, run out of play with it. So I don't see the upgrade with Martinelli.
Your mic rustling there, Steve. There you go. Just so everyone can hear you clearly.
Thank you. I don't see an upgrade from Martinelli. I think I 100% agree with Craig that he's beefing out his squad so that he can save what he probably perceives as a starting 11 for the big games and for the Champions League. I think that's what he's doing.
God, I was going to go to you on Madueke, but he's quite boring. Let's talk about Gyökeres, shall we, and the possibility of a striker coming in, which we've all been calling out for. When it comes to Arsenal, saying this is what they need, is he the striker they need?
Yes, to a certain degree, because he scores goals, and he's done it for 2 seasons at Sporting. He did it on a regular basis for Coventry, and that's where I was surprised that nobody took him when he was at Coventry in the Premier League, because I knew 2 or 3 people up there that kept saying, come on, have a watch of him. He's an out-and-out, really good
centre. You?
Well, people that I played with.
Right.
And saying, we've got a player here that's an outstanding player, and what he's doing playing for us, we're not quite sure how we got him. It's amazing. And he's good with his back to goal. He'll roll defenders. He's a good box player. He'll score goals, but he will score goals by himself. He doesn't need other players always to make the chances. People can roll the ball into his feet, and he can twist and turn and get shots away. So I would say he's an all-round centre-forward, but he's going to have to start well because he's going to be under pressure, as is the manager, Arteta. And that's the one area where I think he's trying to improve the team, and I agree with what they're both saying. He's really trying to improve the squad with the other players. Maybe Zubimendi will be a starter. Mm-hmm. He's going to be a main starter for them, and it will be Gyökeres. If they can get him, he will be a main starter. The other players are squad players, so that when people criticise them for, they can't do it on this day and they can't do it on that day, he's now got the squad to make them a much better team.
But they don't need a striker, do they?
Well,
no, but we sat here, right? We've sat here for 2 years, and been told, journalists.
There's no
right?
on today.
Huh?
There's no journalist.
Journalists. Tell you, right? Just don't listen. Well, Arteta likes to play a different way. He loves to press, and Kai Havertz loves to press and press this and press that and press the next thing. And we're saying, you know, every top team pretty much is looking for somebody, no matter whether they press, no matter whether they have 70% possession, no matter whether they play long balls, whatever it is, wide players, 3 up front, they're looking for somebody to score damn goals.
Right.
Every team.
And is he the answer?
Barcelona, Real Madrid.
Is he going to get goals for Arsenal?
Well,
is he going to close the gap on Liverpool? Is he going to be responsible for doing that?
Well, if he doesn't, Mikel Arteta's in a whole world of pain, isn't he? A whole world of pain.
Do you think so?
Oh, I mean, how long's a piece of string? I mean, we had this discussion actually with Julian a couple of 10 days ago or whatever it was. If he doesn't win anything this year, is he sacked? And I'm not sure he is, because it depends on. There's losing and then there's how you lose. So, for example, if he goes all the way to the last game of the season and it's the last kick of the ball and you lose the league or the Champions League, you're not going to get sacked. But if you're sitting third or fourth in the league and Liverpool or City or whoever it is has won the league by March or April and you've spent another couple of $100 million, you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
So he's going to need, if he signs that, he's going to need this guy to score the goals.
Make no mistake about it. He wanted, you know, when we talk about Arteta and he said, oh, I don't need a centre-forward, it's because he hasn't got one. Because when they bought Jesus, the best that Arsenal played in the last 2 or 3 years was when Jesus was playing through the middle. And he played brilliantly for half a season. And they were saying what a great signing it is, and they were winning everything. They were top of the table by quite some way. It was the year when Man City caught them up eventually. It was when he got injured and then didn't come back and play quite so well, and they couldn't find anybody to fit that role. Suddenly, I don't really need a centre-forward. We can play in different ways.
Yeah.
He wanted a centre-forward all along. He's just...
Well, this is an Arsenal team. Let's not forget who went for Ollie Watkins on the last day.
Yeah.
Well, if you're Liverpool, you must feel a bit left out, because they're going for Chelsea players, they're going for City players, and none of them really have worked. You know, he brought in Zinchenko, because I think he knew him from when he was coaching there. He brought in Gabriel Jesus, who at the time I thought, yeah, needs maybe to get away from City, but it hasn't worked. We've talked about all the Chelsea players that he's brought in, so he does seem to be very narrow in terms of where he's been bringing these players in from. But make no bones about it, if he gets all these sort of ducks in a row here with the signings, and they get it done nice and early, and they can go and have a full pre-season, there is not going to be any excuses. And I don't expect there to be, because this Arsenal squad, whether it's when Madueke comes in, Gyökeres eventually I think will come in, Zubimendi, the other bits and pieces around it, it does look on the face of it a squad of players that will challenge Liverpool for sure.
Regardless of the squad, them signing Gyökeres absolutely 100% puts them in the title race.
Right.
Because look at the amount of games they drew last year. And if you've got a guy who's a bona fide centre-forward who can get goals if he's set up, who will take chances, will get opportunities from the rest of the team around him, but who can also create something for himself from nothing, that's 100% the biggest thing they were missing. Somebody, just somebody who knows what they're doing in the penalty area, knows where the goal is, doesn't have to get his head up, just instinctively knows where it is. This is going to make a huge difference to this team. And whether Madueke is any good or not, or Zubimendi, the biggest difference is going to be this guy. As Craig said, he's going to be under pressure. But you know what? He's talented and he's proven he can score goals. I don't see how he doesn't make them much better.
And Liverpool don't have that, do they?
No, that's very true.
I mean, they have obviously one of the...
They've got kind of a... They've
No, but
got more guys that can
the worry
score
I have,
goals as opposed to a goal.
The worry I would have from a Liverpool perspective is that the continuation of the leaning heavily on Mo Salah just continuing, and the vein that he has been, which has been incredible, because we've said it all along. He's scoring more goals than most decent or good number 9s. He's scoring more than most other number 9s in the Premier League, and dare I say it, around Europe. And I know he signed this new contract, and all the Saudi Arabia stuff has gone away. But he's what, 30, I think he's 32 or thereabouts, 32, 33. It's difficult to keep asking somebody to score 30 goals from the wide position.
And what's his main attribute? What's the one thing that gets him in behind defenders is that blistering pace. And if you get older, you're going to lose that pace. Will he be the same player? It might be one day when you find out, oh, I went for that run and it didn't quite happen for me. And that's when you lose your confidence as a player. So hopefully, I don't want him to do that, but that's the danger with signing a player on a massive contract when he's getting older and older.
But there has to be a contingency for slot. nobody's writing anybody off here because his stats are there for all to see. It's brilliant, but Mother Nature has a tendency, and obviously players lose. Messi and Ronaldo apart in our generation, they've been the only two that have churned out a decade plus of numbers that are off the stratosphere. You know, Mo Salah's last few years have been off the stratosphere. Arne Slot at Liverpool must have some sort of contingency to say, listen, what do I do if Mo Salah or Luis Diaz or Cody Gakpo, if they're having a tough time, where do I go? Where do I go to the bet and say, right, they're having a bit of a tough time at the moment. I need somebody to put the ball in the back of the net. That has to be something that's in the back of you.
Staying in North London, of course, we saw Spurs splash the cash this week. Mohammed Kudus making that move from West Ham to Spurs. We haven't spoken to you since it's been a done deal, Craig. Do you like it?
Well, do we know? I think Kudus was by far and above at times, along with Paqueta when he had his head screwed on, was above anything else West Ham had. The big question is just where's he going to play and how consistent is he going to be for Tottenham? There's no doubt he's a talent. Absolutely no doubt about it. He can play in the Premier League. Easy. It's just how Tottenham are going to get the best out of him. He doesn't, on the face of it, to me, seem like...
Our producer Mike's a Spurs fan. Would you like to see his starting 11?
Well, I've had a sneaky preview, and the two
Have
words...
we got that?
The two words, Ange Postecoglou.
There you go. Don't worry about defending. Gibbs White's side, by the way.
This is a Spursy signing.
Do you think so, Stevie?
Not a Thomas Frank. This doesn't seem like a Thomas Frank.
No, Kudus 100% has got talent, and Kudus on his day can frighten any defender. But Kudus is one of those guys that turns up whenever he fancies it, or if it's a big occasion and he's going to try and look good. I mean, last season for West Ham, he turned up in the bigger games like against City and Liverpool. And that's why I'm saying it's a Spursy signing, because Spurs sign players that don't quite have that all-round.
What's the word you're looking for?
You don't feel he has?
No. He's going to be like a Maddison.
Right.
He'll have a little spot where he'll be out of this world for 4 or 5 games, and then you'll never see him for another 4 or 5 games. That's not going to get Spurs.
Look at those players that are on the bench. They're all similar players. Kulusevski, Odegaard, Tell,
Same thing.
Richarlison,
They turn up
Son.
now and again.
All those players aren't in that team
Right.
that Mike put up for
Yeah.
us. So, and are these players that are going to come be any better? The thing that he has to do, Thomas Frank, when he goes in there, he's got to make up his mind. What is my best team? What's the formation I'm going to play? And I'm going to have to stick with it for a few weeks. And because otherwise, they're just going to be like Chelsea were when they were making all these signings. They're going to go from one team to another team, not quite sure what the best team is. He's got to go in there and make sure he's got his right team. He sticks with the players and gives them some sort of structure to play. Otherwise, Tottenham will be no better off.
I'll guarantee you now.
That won't be their team.
That won't be anything like their team that starts the Premier League.
You say Mike doesn't know his stuff?
Because I will be laughing my socks off. We should get on the phone to Rodrigo Bentancur now and say, good luck, son.
Yeah.
Because the two next to you are not going to give you any help whatsoever. You think about... So it is absolutely not going to be the way Thomas Frank approaches that. Because that's like jumping from the frying pan into the fire, the way he approach games.
What do you make of Gibbs White, Craig?
Think about Gibbs White. No, Gibbs White's tight, but think about Gibbs White at Forest, right? Forest was about defending, it was about structure, it was about physicality, and he was the one in games where they had 30-35% possession that was able to take the ball and bridge the gap and maybe get some support to Chris Wood. Is he going to be a bit more consistent than Maddison? I think so. I think he will be. Newcastle were after him a year or so ago. That move didn't pay off. But again, you look at how he operated best. They had Elliot Anderson and Yates, who just two ham and eggers that went in there and did the dirty stuff, and he was able to go and do what he's doing. At Tottenham, it's going to be a bit more than that. So I think a decent signing, but certainly I think that spells the end for James Maddison as a starting 11 player. He's going to find himself on the bench.
Tottenham fans might be pleased that Kulusevski's not in that starting
Oh,
lineup.
don't look at there's something about the start 11. Gibbs White, does this make Spurs better?
Does it make them better? He's a good player, but I don't know that it makes them any better.
Right.
Kulusevski, I think, is an excellent player. You know, he's better than Maddison. Maddison's in and out. Kulusevski's been more consistent. He's the one that's created a lot of chances over the last couple of years. I really like him as a player. He's different. to Gibbs-White, because Gibbs-White is a powerful runner with the ball. Kulusevski's cleverer, more, I think, better with his passing. I still don't think Spurs will be challenging for the Champions League with that team that we've just seen there.
Last word to you, Stevie.
Yeah, Gibbs-White's good if he's surrounded by runners, fighters, guys that will get the ball, because Gibbs-White doesn't. It's good when he gets it. So, yeah, another Spursy signing.
Sunday then sees the final of the Club World Cup. Chelsea taking on at PSG. Marc-Andre, whether he likes it or not, has been trailing the teams, of course, in the knockout stages. He hasn't been particularly happy with the heat he's had to suffer. He's got company today and got a little bit of revenge on Alexis, considering she's been very much enjoying the AC over the last couple of days.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Now I know why Augie has been complaining about standing out here in the heat all day. But we move. It was all worth it to just get some reaction from Chelsea as they wrapped up their final media day activities before that Club World Cup final. Probably the biggest challenge of Enzo Maresca's career at Chelsea so far, which is the game against PSG. He likened it to a game of chess, a game that he says he loves watching, he loves to see, because he believes that you have to win it up here first. Augie, what did you make of what Chelsea had to say and how they are found before this final?
Yeah, I thought Maresca was kind of bullish. He was asked a question saying you won't have much of the ball, and he said, "Who said? How do you know?" Well, we all know that PSG are going to dominate possession, especially have three midfield. Chelsea will have two. It looks like Caicedo will be fit, Moses Caicedo, which is a massive, massive bonus, but there'll still be two in midfield unless he changes his tactics. So Maresca's confident. He's always quite confident and quite spiky, but he did say it's like a game of chess, but I hope he's good at chess, because he needs to be really good at chess to win this game. I think it's going to be really hard for Chelsea to win this game no matter what, even if they have their best team out. I don't think any Chelsea player gets in the PSG team. But, you know, it's a one-off game. He did reference the fact that Al Hilal beat Man City, Fluminense beat Inter Milan, Botafogo beat PSG. It's possible, but I was at this game on Wednesday, the semi-final. They hammered Real Madrid PSG. It's going to be so hard for Chelsea.
It is going to be hard for Chelsea. Another thing that's going to be hard is a 3 p.m. kickoff in this heat. Is something we've been talking about throughout this tournament, and you can bet that Reece James and Enzo Maresca had to field questions about the heat and playing under the sunshine come Sunday in the press conference. Here's what they had to say.
It's already 1 month we are here, so now we are used to, to play with this condition. It will be for us, will be for them, so it's for both teams.
The climate is so hot, no one in Europe is used to this heat, playing at 3 o'clock in, the hottest time of the day is super difficult for us to adapt.
El calor es increíble, la verdad no sé. El otro día, bueno, me mareé un poco en una jugada, me tuve que tirar al piso porque la verdad que estaba mareado, la verdad que jugar a esa temperatura es muy peligroso.
How much of a factor do you think is going to play?
I don't think it plays a factor at all, because PSG is the same for PSG. They've all got European players, South American players, British players. It's the same sort of mix. The situation that will define it is that PSG keep the ball better. Chelsea will have to run around the pitch more. It's hot, so that'll make it harder for Chelsea. So that's how the heat will make an impact.
Ultimately, how do you see this going, Augie?
PSG win easily. We were saying before the way here that PSG have played 3 European teams. 4-0, 2-0, 4-0. That's 10-0 on aggregate. I think Chelsea are going to be another one that loses quite heavily to PSG.
All right, well, Chelsea saying all the right things before their big final, but Dan, it's going to be a massive uphill battle for them. But Reece James says he doesn't care about stats or previous forms from teams. They're just going to go out there and prepare themselves as best as they can for this task.
Thank you very much. By the way, Augie's written an article about the heat. And about what lessons, in fact, FIFA can learn looking ahead to the World Cup next summer.
The more that you hear some players talk, the more the mind boggles, really. Sometimes you just think, who's educating these players to press conferences these days? Take Reece James for an example. When he said, we're the most British people, maybe British people, a lot of them come to the United States. They travel all over the world. But where do the majority of British people go for the summer holidays? They go to Europe. Mm-hmm. Reece James just sat there and said, well, the temperatures over here, we're just not used to it because Europeans are not used to that. The British people go to Spain and they go to Italy.
But I suppose they don't go to play football. That's the thing, isn't it? They go there to the beach. They go to enjoy the heat. They're not used to.
He's just said the Europeans are not used to this. We have Enzo Maresca, who's another one that's been whining about it, and he's not been the only one. He's Italian. When the Italian season kicks off in August, it'll be 90 degrees, as it will be in Spain, as it will be in Croatia, as it will be in most places in sort of Western Europe. In the summer, it gets damn hot in Western Europe. That's why most Brits take the 2-hour or 2.5-hour flight for their holidays there. And yet we have players and managers sitting saying Europeans are not used to the temperatures in America in the summer. I mean, what absolute drivel. The one thing that I think some of them are not used to, and it has been more prevalent this year, is the humidity. The humidity has been worse than the heat this year. I'll give you that. Yep. But please don't talk about Europeans not being used to the heat when all these Italians and Spanish and all these other countries kick off the season and it's 90 degrees in their country. It's utter stupidity and a silly statement.
I'm looking forward to reading that article.
Oh, good.
Because according to Augie, the players in the teams have learned some lessons about the heat.
Right.
Learn what?
Did he not mean FIFA?
What have you learned?
Drink water regularly.
You can't do anything, no?
No.
To prepare. I remember speaking to you when you were coaching the Revs.
The only thing you can do is make sure you keep the ball and take care of the ball.
Okay.
Because if you don't, as Augie said at the start of that, the reason PSG is going to beat Chelsea is because they're going to be taking care of the ball. And when you're the team running around in that heat, eventually, you flag.
You talked about this a week or so ago. Most of the players, some of them would, but most of them would not be whining if this was the World Cup. Right?
Proper World Cup.
You feel the heat and you feel the humidity and you feel tiredness when you're playing in a competition that you really shouldn't be playing in because it's the end of the season. That's the crux of this matter. If this was a bona fide competition, if this was the World Cup, that when you're a kid, you give your right arm to play in, you're not thinking about the heat. You're not thinking about any of that.
Your day in Mexico, Stevie, against Germany.
There you go.
Exactly. There was not one person from any team in that World Cup playing in Mexico that ever mentioned in press conferences about how hot it was and how tough it is playing at 2 o'clock. Nobody mentioned it. It was all football. It was all about why they lost, why they won. Nothing to do with the weather at all. And that's, again, because it's not a proper World Cup.
Esta competición la han forzado sin acordarlo con las ligas y daña mucho al ecosistema del fútbol mundial, pero más del fútbol europeo. Estamos viendo que ahora equipos que se quejan que no tienen tiempo para el descanso y la pretemporada, equipos que se quejan también de los jugadores muy cansados cuando han venido aquí.
El Real Madrid llegando a semifinales se va a llevar casi 100 millones, esos 86 millones. ¿Cómo tiene eso un impacto en la competitividad?
Pues tiene mucho, es una de las quejas también que tenemos que plantear, ¿no? Porque hay que pensar que estos clubes luego vienen a competir en las competiciones nacionales, ¿no? Y claro, cada vez tenemos más competiciones donde se reparte mucho dinero solo a una serie de clubes. Los otros que están en esas competiciones, pues se hace un gap, una diferencia importante y se pierde competitividad. Eso sin duda es un dato objetivo, no hace falta ser muy listo, ¿no?
La Liga president then, Javier Tebas, not happy with the Club World Cup, saying that it's not fair on the clubs not competing. It gives a financial advantage to the likes of Real Madrid. Don't Real Madrid just have a financial advantage anyway in life? Isn't that just the way of the world without this competition?
Probably. And it's been crystal clear, I heard Augie talking the other day about how Chelsea getting to to the final is paying for some of the transfers. And that's all fine, which tells you everything. I'm not going to go down this road of sledgehammering this competition today because I'm sort of fed up of it. But it's kind of telling you that it is just about the money. It's about how we can pay for transfers, how we can pay for it. So it's been too much about that for me. And the other side of it is what's kind of made me giggle a little bit. And nothing against Real Madrid, but they made it crystal clear from day one that this was just a big competition for them. This was going to be something that they would hang their season on because they won nothing last year, deservedly so. And yet here they were coming, giving it all guns blazing and got battered. Kind of tells you where their priorities are, really.
Well, that's kind of epitomised by the way, of course, it was covered after their thrashing from PSG. It was an absolute shellacking from start to finish. 4-0, of course, to the European champions. It could have been a lot more. And as you mentioned, Craig, this is a competition that Real Madrid put on a pedestal to a point where, of course, they delayed Jude Bellingham getting surgery on his shoulder. He's going to be out now for the start of the season. Yes, they've made some money from it. but it has not been a successful month, has it, for Madrid?
No, they haven't played well. They've had the odd foray in games. They played decent against Dortmund, particularly for 45 minutes early, but that's Dortmund. But the players that needed surgery, and we all know about this, the first thing I would have been doing at the end of the season was, when can I have this done so that I can start my rehabilitation as soon as possible, so that when the pre-season starts, I'm ready. So when the season starts, I'm ready to go with my new manager. Real Madrid have got it back to front.
Is there any argument to say at least Xavi Alonso knows his team better now than he would have done with just pre-season training? Given the competitive edge to this tournament, he now knows exactly what he needs to do over the next few weeks before the start of the season, which may be a sort of insight he wouldn't have had if this didn't exist.
But then he would have had, because he's going to play pre-season games.
Right.
And he's going to play pre-season games. As much as Real Madrid are visible, he can figure things out during pre-season.
So he didn't need
to
work
on
it out?
No, absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not. He'll have seen more of these players and Real Madrid players and Real Madrid, the way they played and who played where, on videos, that had he had a pre-season to work with them, he would have figured it out there and then. He's been hamstrung by this big time, because now one of his key players in Bellingham isn't going to be there. So, no, there's
While games are going on, you can't work the players, you can't do all the training, you can't do all the tactical stuff you want to do.
Right, you can't, for example,
you can in pre-season.
You have pre-season, you have little pre-season games where the first team plays the reserves. You get it going and you stop it whenever you need to stop it, and then you walk through it and you tell everybody what you should have done, what you shouldn't do. You can't do that when you're playing games.
How concerning is it that, as much as Xavi Alonso's been given this opportunity because he's what he did at Bayer Leverkusen, that it seems he was so tactically naive going into the game against PSG, given that he started Vinicius Junior, Garcia and Bellingham all up front together?
So again...
And Mbappe as well, sorry.
Aye. So again, he's using this to try and figure some things out. You know, he said after the game that I made a mistake by not filling the middle of the park.
But, Steve,
at the same time...
Steve, you've seen enough of PSG over the last 12 months to know that you didn't need that formation to be tested, that you knew it wasn't going to work.
Right, and that ties into what you just asked me 2 seconds ago. When you're Real Madrid, you played in this tournament, the guys up the stair have told you already, the fact that Bellingham's not getting an operation is that they want to win this. And so all they're thinking about is winning. They want the money, they want the prestige of winning the first ever Club World Cup. And so Alonso is trying to win games and also try to figure some stuff out as well. So you can't have it always.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, he's doing both.
But putting out that starting 11...
Yeah, that was the concern.
It was going to lose. So if he's desperately trying to win, why is he putting out such a vulnerable?
Well, because then now he knows that he doesn't have the players to do that.
If I was sat with you when that starting 11 came out, you went, nah.
We talked about it before the game, or a couple of days before the game. Is it going to be Garcia? Is it going to be Mbappe? It's only going to be one of them. Is Mbappe going to be fit enough? And it looked as though he said, well, I've got to fit them both in the team. Gonzalo Garcia scored 5 goals and I want Mbappe to play. And he put out a formation that he probably didn't think that was the right formation, just to appease the 2 players, which is a worrying thing when you're manager of Real Madrid.
That's the whole argument here. Why did he do what he did? Are you trying to tell me that Xavi Alonso is so tactically naive that it never crossed his mind that they might get outplayed in the middle? He obviously had... If he's trying to figure things out and see how players react and all kinds of different things that we're talking about here, because he's just walked into the building, I mean, you can't...
But you were saying he had to win the game. The Real Madrid people higher up are saying he's got to win the game. So if you have to win the game, you pick a side to win the game, not to try things out.
But he knew he was
getting... where we started about Dan's question. Sorry, we're back to where we started with Dan saying, well, surely it's better to find out stuff here, playing games, than it is just pre-season training.
Yeah, but he didn't need to play the best team in Europe to find out that this Real Madrid side are not the best team in Europe. He knew he was getting this... He pretty much knew he was getting this job quite some time ago, right? We all sort of worst-kept secret in the business. And as Rob was said, every weekend he would have watched, his team's on video, and he would have watched Real Madrid, and he would have watched Barcelona, because he knew he was going to Spain. So he would have known what he was getting. The worry is, he thought he could go with an almost similar formation to the best team by far in Europe. And, okay, he would have learned, if he shouldn't have already known, which he should have done, that he couldn't do that. It might have been quite nice for him to show something a little bit different, show a different.
The biggest worry...
He did not.
The biggest worry was what Thibaut Courtois said after the game.
About the pressing.
He said, we went with the game plan and the players did not carry out the game plan. Now, that's a worry, because if the manager's saying, this is what we want to do, and I presume he was talking because he was saying we weren't pressing the ball from the front, he's talking about the front players, you've got a problem.
And again, go back to the argument, right? That absolutely 100% is why Real Madrid will never be able to play the way PSG do if they've got Vinny and Mbappe up front.
Right.
But again, we don't know if certain players in the wide areas were supposed to tuck in at certain times. So again, I just don't believe that Alonso is that tactically naive to think that, not that they were going to get overrun, but the fact that we all just looked at it and went, well, there's only two guys in the middle. I think players didn't do their jobs in terms of...
Because originally, at the start of the game, he had Vinicius Junior one side and Mbappe, and he was going to play Gonzalo Garcia as the sort of full centre forward. So when they lost the ball, he was going to go and get on the deepest midfield player of PSG. But when they went 2-0 down, he changed all that. And the two goals they did concede were two mistakes to start with. Yeah. But once he changed it all, then they were all over the place. And he had to, every water break, he's trying to get his information across. And you can see the players, there's nothing we can do about it at the moment.
Do you know, to go back to Bellingham quickly, you know what would get me with Bellingham is, I don't know if he was forced into going to this tournament or not because of the prestige that Real Madrid hold it in, or whether he was quite happy to go along with it. But I'd be slightly concerned if I was him, and I'll tell you why. He's not undroppable. I mean, he was for 7 months of his first season. Couldn't do anything wrong. Nothing. But when those goals dry up, as they did last year, and okay, you might say Ancelotti was tinkering and couldn't find a good place for him and couldn't get him in the number 10. And he was by far not the only one that underperformed, but he underperformed. Big time. He's a big-time signing. If his form continues post-operation and Alonso has figured out something in the short term that's getting him to a result, he does not walk back into the team.
That's a big call, by the way.
What is?
He's not undroppable.
He's not. If you watched La Liga every week last year, he was not good.
When he was in England, and when he played for the England team at the last World Cup, he was a central midfield player. A very, very good one. He was good on the ball. He could break things up. He'd break forward when it was the right time. He went to Real Madrid, and because of the situation, he ended up as one of the centre forwards, or withdrawn centre. He starts scoring goals. Now they think, oh, well, that's what he is. He's an attacking midfield player, almost a centre forward who gets on the end of things. He has to go back to being a midfield player, where you have to do both sides of the job. And that's been my criticism of him all season. He still thinks, I can make forward runs and then I'll jog back. And when the ball gets passed around me, I can stand there and have a look and have a moan at somebody else. If you're a midfield player, you have to work hard, you have to do both sides of the job, and you have to be alert when you lose possession. He didn't do that for much of the season, and that was in his head.
Robbo, he went
I think that's unfair, Robbo. He was played all over the shop. You know, his first season when he was absolutely world class, no question. He would have walked into any team on the planet. And all of a sudden, he's got the rug taken away from under him. Now he's playing on the left-hand side. Now he's playing deep. Now he's playing on the right. And he's all over the shop. So it's pretty hard when you're that good, and then all of a sudden the rug's pulled away. I think that's a bit hard.
Yeah, but what about, there is an argument to that. So where's the argument to say that prior to the season starting, when he didn't play well for England in the Euros, where's the difference? Was the rug pulled under him playing for England?
Surely at club level. I mean,
they got to the final, but with Southgate, but he did not. He had a monk on.
Yeah. If you're coaching Real Madrid, Craig, and you've got Jude Bellingham, who if you play him in the right spot, is going to get you a goal. That's your job's to figure that out and get him in that spot. Surely.
Right.
But you're saying that also about Vinny Jr., you're saying it about Mbappe, you're saying it about Jude Bellingham. Oh, we have to fit them into the side. I've got to make sure they're playing in the right position. That's the problem Ancelotti had, and that's exactly what Alonso's going to have.
Meanwhile, word on Barcelona, of course, the defending champions. Quite a quiet summer for them overall. The future of Ter Stegen, of course, has been one that's been much discussed, especially with a new goalkeeper coming in. There was a meeting today, according to reports in Spain, between Flick and Ter Stegen, and Flick said basically, "You're not in my plans. You're third."
Well, the good thing is he can just turn to his right and ask Wojciech Szczesny and say, "What's the best beach?"
Well, yes, indeed.
Because he just got him off the beach to come and be the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And in some sense, I was going to say I feel a bit sorry for him. I shouldn't really. He's a highly paid sportsman. But he was the number one. He wasn't doing a lot wrong. He got that really bad injury when he came for that cross or whatever it was. And he stepped out for the operation and the rehab as the number one keeper at Barcelona.
Back as number 3.
And has walked back in and he's basically training with the reserves. I mean, I think most of it is, a lot of it is financially driven. Bearing in mind, there'll be a relationship between Hansi Flick and Ter Stegen. They're both from the same country. I don't think in any way, shape or form, I would imagine that Hansi Flick has not just gone like that to him.
Well, Hansi Flick would have been the manager of Germany when he was the number 2, unless they had some sort of bust up, which you seem to know about, Stevie. You told me earlier on.
Don't start with Stevie's sources.
Okay,
my sources tell me.
Let's play a game, Robbo.
Yes.
If you're Manchester United, would you take Ter Stegen or Emi Martinez?
Well, I would take Ter Stegen. I don't like Martinez at all as a character, but people say he's the world's number 1.
Well, you've watched enough football.
Yeah, no, I don't like his style. If I was a coach, I don't like his style of goalkeeping, his antics and all that sort of stuff. I like calm goalkeepers.
You don't like the tomfoolery.
I don't like the tomfoolery and all the actions. Ter Stegen's a good goalkeeper. There's no question about that.
Right.
So I would take Ter Stegen. Yeah.
Would you put up with the tomfoolery, Stephen?
I absolutely am with Robbo. I can't stand the guy.
No.
But I would take him over Ter Stegen.
You played with Brucey. He had a lot of tomfoolery in his Arsenal.
Yeah, but that's not when the ball was around him. That was when he was bored. Jumping on the goal posts and all kinds of stuff.
Is Onana out?
Onana, I've just put it out here for the moment. Would you agree as well, Ter Stegen?
I'm betwixt in between.
I didn't say Ter Stegen.
Sorry?
No, he said
Martinez.
Did you?
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
I agree with Robbo. I can't stand all the tomfoolery.
Oh, sorry, I got carried away then thinking about Bruce.
I mean, Ter Stegen's coming off a really bad injury. And
yes.
So
no need to go over it again. He wasn't listening.
I know, yeah.
I mean, further proof.
That's not typical.
Yeah,
it's just a horrible little man.
Shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You need to report him. He never listens.
Yeah, that's it. So, deciding vote, who have you got?
I'll go with, on goalkeeping, I'm just going to go with Martinez.
Okay.
What are you nodding your head at him for?
Ter Stegen as well.
Ter Stegen.
You've got Ter Stegen
So
as well.
3 votes for Ter Stegen.
Right.
Welcome in then to the latest edition of Extra Time. Craig and Stevie are with us, as is Robbo. Did you hear about Robbo's story in New York?
No.
He got a car to take him 200 yards from the hotel door to the studio door.
I didn't get the car.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Diva behaviour from Stuart Robson.
I didn't book
down
it.
in my estimate.
I had no idea how far it was. I didn't book it, and a car turned up, and it kept on ringing me while the show was going on. I'm outside, so then I thought I can't just walk off and just let him do nothing. So I got in the car, and Alexis got in with me because it was raining.
Oh, there you
was
are. Was
worried
it
about her hair.
200 yards, Robert? Did you have a nice time in New York? Oh, there he is, sir.
Yeah. I had to put my bags in there, didn't I? I couldn't carry my bags. Somebody else does that, don't they? I gave him $30 for a 200-yard journey. There we are.
Oh,
otherwise, it was a waste of his time.
Somebody, the company paid for it.
Yeah, they may well have done, but 200 yards.
Oh, but you had a nice time? You enjoyed yourself?
I had a very nice time.
Good, good
Thank you
stuff.
very much, yes.
What do you think, Mark, with a tip to the driver?
Nobody knows who that is.
All right, brilliant. Fair enough.
Robbo.
Move on.
Robbo, you're always so eloquent and polished. How much did you actually swear on the pitch? Hard to imagine you shouting, dearie me, in attack.
I've got to say, I was booked a lot of times, but never for abusive language or having a go at the referee. It was always for aggressive play, I would say.
Okay.
Do I swear? Yes, I swear occasionally, but not the bad language that you usually have when I.
No, I don't know, Robbo.
When you've had a couple of drinks.
I've seen you get a bit angry at certain events that we've.
But I have sworn. Yes, I did swear once, didn't I?
Yes.
When I couldn't get on air.
Somebody at this table uses very bad language. Not me. I do use them. A lot of the guys say to me, "How come you never sworn live on TV?" I was Try not to, obviously.
No.
But yeah,
No. Jan's the king of it.
Nah, it's very.
Well, because it's the second language.
It's not. No.
That's all right.
You get very. You use.
Jan, who's more joyful?
Colourful.
Who's more joyful? Oh, sorry, Dan. Who's more joyful among Craig, Robbo, and Mark? Oggie's been getting some stick.
Oh, he has been getting some
Deservedly
stick,
so.
yeah. Oh.
He was in the studio a couple of days ago, and he just.
What, in New York or here?
No, here.
New York.
He was in
Oh, was he
here.
here?
Yeah, he was here.
He does like a moan. I've got to say, Oggy, doesn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't quite have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he denies it. He says, no, I'm quite a happy bloke, really.
He's a good company.
Did he go out?
He's a good
Yeah,
company.
he went out one night. He was very good.
In Bristol?
And he had to buy a tie to come on the show.
Why?
Well, because he hasn't got one.
Why do you have to wear a
use
tie?
one of
Who
his.
said that?
Well, because we all had ties in.
What, for Gareth Bale? You've got to put a tie on.
No, for all of the shows, we had ties. Because
Was
Ali
that-
wears a tie, Shaka wears. I haven't got a tie today, but I wore a tie. And Oggy felt
Was
out
that
of
a
place.
production call?
I think so. So Oggy went and bought himself a tie.
That was like.
we haven't worn a
That was like the. What happens is busy people get involved.
Oh, busy.
It was like the Clásico in Barcelona, right? Barcelona, Real Madrid. We gets there, we do all these shows, and then we're doing the main game, and him and I came down. I've got, something similar.
Oh, yes.
He's got an open neck shirt, jacket. Luis Garcia and Maka come down as if they're going to meet.
Ascot?
They're going to a wedding. Maka gets halfway down the stairs, looks at me and goes, bloody hell, what's that? I was told it was shirt and tie. I went, who told you that? Well, busy people. I've got nothing, sit in an office, they got nothing better to do. They send emails round saying, do remember, you're representing the company, you have to wear a shirt and tie.
Remember that game lasted, the first game of La Liga when I was in Valencia?
Oh, you were so hot.
And we had to, because we had to do pieces of camera, we were told we had to wear a shirt and tie.
Wow.
Me and Darky.
Wow.
Where were you?
And you haven't got a tie
Valencia.
today? Are you just deciding?
I left it in the hotel. I put it down to do something and didn't pick it back up
Oh,
again.
I'm supposed to get a car to go back and get it.
Ignore them. Ignore.
Craig, how do you think you would have handled being a player in this current Chelsea dressing room with its constant influx of new signings?
That's all right. Somebody else do.
He was a big part of the old Chelsea thing when they used to say new player. Ooh, did we give him a bad time?
That's
good
it.
time?
You're having to go at the old Chelsea.
The old Chelsea.
regime.
That's probably what we were talking about. Probably when, well, I know.
I was only a
when
youngster.
Terry and Lampard and people like that were in charge of the club.
Oh, I was long gone then.
Well, new player comes in, we'll give him a hard time.
Blackballing people and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, LeBouf coming in, oh, he's here now. Yeah.
What were you like at Liverpool when new players came in?
I'll just try and wind people up, figure them out, see
Right.
see what gets them. Usual stuff. Yeah. No, a bit of fresh meat, always good.
Did anybody come in literally to take your place? There's the position that I play in.
Yeah, Robbie Musto.
Robbie Mustard took his number.
What?
He spotted.
Where at?
He sat on your chair as well, didn't he?
You know this story. He came in at Derby, John Gregory was bringing him in, but he wasn't bringing him in because he promised Musty the earth. So I comes back pre-season training, I walks into the old training ground at Derby, and there was Musty sat with my number 8 training kit on. Oh. And I've gone, what are you doing? You know Musty's like, serious, isn't he? I've gone, what are you doing? He went, what do you mean? I went, that's my number. He went, I got told to put it on. I went, get it off. Get it off, I'm still here. I went, you're all right. But he came in because they were trying to get rid of me. Yeah. So he had...
You got on well with John Gregory, didn't you, the manager?
Well, I'm not one to dredge things up, so
Did he try and get you to play with a broken leg?
I'm
think
sure-
that- isn't that true?
Hold on, let me get comfy. Here we go.
No, what I'll tell you is,
Up to later, Dan.
I am not going to sit here and say anything bad about John Gregory. I'll tell you why. Because if you asked John Gregory the same thing, he'd probably say something about me. So,
there you go.
It's a two-way street.
Did Stevie, Craig or Robbo ever go on holiday with a physio in order to stay in shape?
Not on holiday.
No.
No.
I went on holiday with a programme that I did when I was on holiday, and given to me by our physio, Alan Watson.
Right.
Every summer, I used to go away. I used to go to this clinic anyway, but then he'd say, right, while you're away for 2 weeks, I want you to do this, and this.
Okay.
And that's what I did.
Did you have any sort of programme when you went away?
Yeah, I wanted to drink this, and this.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. What about you? Did you have a programme of any sort?
Grab.
Oh yeah, not on holiday though. I went a rehab with Alan Watson after an Achilles operation once. He came running. He used to actually come running with me.
Right.
Fit guy. But so yeah, he'd give you a program, but I never took one on holiday. When I went on holiday,
That was it. Just time for a bit of me time, relax.
I was on holiday,
Yeah.
get a bit, of, get a suntan.
Get vitamin D in you.
Yeah, it's different when you're injured. When you're injured, you realise you've got to do stuff.
Right.
But normally, it's one of them.
But I tell you what, going back to we were talking about Bellingham on the main show, putting his operation off, playing this silly Club World Cup, which is going to impact his start of the season. When I did my Achilles, I needed it. It wasn't ruptured or anything, but it needed surgery. I couldn't get it done quick enough, and Alan Watson arranged this plastic surgeon for me. That was going to. So I was trying to find the best person in the country, and I was on holiday in Portugal for a week with the family, and it was like as soon as I could get in, bosh, back. There was none of this. Oh, I'm going to be here for another couple of weeks. Can the surgeon do it? As if these guys have got nothing better to do. You've got to get in, get it done, and get ready for this.
Well, this surgeon can have done the when you were under as well.
Well, this physio.
Oh, actually, no, he did. This is the better version of the nose. Hey, actually, I woke up and I went, oh my God, why? My Achilles is sore, and my nose is like, what's up?
What was it like the day? No one's going to give a good answer. What was it like the day your club gave you your first team contract after coming up from the academy? Any moment from that day that really stuck with you?
Yeah, the wages were crap.
Oh, right, yes, good. Yeah. Emotional?
The second, it was the first one. So I'd been an apprentice and I got in the first team.
Okay.
And and then they sort of upped the money as the first year. And the second year, now it's big. I've played 60 games, under 21 captain, whatever. So now's the big contract. And I go in with Dad, and we're gonna try and get as much money as we can. And we set our mind on a figure for a week. We're not going to drop below that. We met Ken Fryer and Terry Neal, and they looked at us and they said, I think, if you're okay with it, we're going to start you off with this. And it was £300 more than we were going to say was our cut-off point. So we looked at each other. Well, how are we going to argue this one then? Because that was our argument for this figure.
And you didn't bluff it and
no, we
double
didn't
it.
Really. No, we went, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
It must have been weird for you because you joined Chelsea at 16, and I imagine at the end of every, I don't know what the time period was, people get kept or dropped. That must have been a scary time for you going into the office to find out whether or not you.
What do you mean, as a youngster?
Yeah, because obviously they're going to say, look, we're going to continue with you, or we're going to let you go.
I think you get a good gauge.
Oh, really?
You probably know.
So you have an idea before you go in.
And yeah, there's a bunch of guys at that point. Generally, and if you went to England, most of the apprentices between the age of 16 and 18 on what we called a YTS, a youth training scheme, which basically government were paying. The government were paying, and the club wasn't paying you. It was the government.
Okay.
And it was peanuts. I mean, like back in
£20 a week.
Back in the '87, when I went to Chelsea in '87, it was £28 a week. So just over 100 a month. I know, and 35 the second year. So, but most of the kids that were in that youth team, and the same at Liverpool and the rest of the clubs, and we played in the South East counties, which was we only played against West Ham and Arsenal and Tottenham and these teams. But most of them were Irish, Welsh, English and Scottish. There really wasn't anybody from Central Europe because kids really stayed in their own countries then. And most of these kids, most of the youngsters with me, you kind of knew. So, Jason Cundy's probably got a contract, Frank Sinclair's going to get one, Eddie's going to get one, I'm going to get one, a couple of other lads. And then you looked at the ones that were on the fringes that maybe played in the youth team but not regular.
Okay.
And they would all go into the office and, a lot of them would come back out crying because basically they were picking their boots up. They were going back to their digs because you live with families. That was it. Getting the bags and they were getting on a train to go back to Cardiff or go back to a flight back to Ireland. And that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as before you know it, you're at one of these big clubs and you're cleaning the boots and the next thing you know, where'd that go?
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of these youngsters, when it does happen to them, bosh. Now,
that's why they've tried to improve that now, haven't they?
Some of them come and
have another go
and go again.
Yeah.
I would say the majority.
Of course.
The chin hits the floor.
That's your dream.
And they go back to their home
and never play football again. Some never play football again.
Lost.
Did you have similar experiences, Steve?
No, not at all. I was part-time here, I was unemployed.
Right.
Get in a car one day, go to training, was told I was going down to Liverpool. Following day, I got in the car. I wasn't even involved in negotiations. I sat outside the room. There was my manager, Willie McLean at the time, Bob Paisley, Robinson and the chairman. I was sat outside with a cup of tea. And then
you must have known you were a pretty good player playing for Ayr at the time.
Yeah, but he didn't
Honestly,
go through the apprenticeship.
I didn't go through the academies or anything like that. Just I went to boys' club and then reserves, but it was part-time.
Right.
And so, and then they finished after about half an hour. Came out and Wally said, right, you're getting that. And by the way, they're going to take you to your digs. That was it. Wow. Some old geezer came top. It was Tom Saunders actually. No, it wasn't an old geezer. Tom Saunders said to me, right, we've got digs for you next door, and that was it. So one night I was getting on the bus, going to training, and then 2 days later I was in digs in Liverpool and I was playing for Liverpool.
Final question. This guy's got a bit too much time on his hands. Strolling down memory lane, looking at Stevie's old tweets from when he was still on the app.
What time were they though?
This one should be framed in the Smithsonian. I haven't seen this. What is this? Does DeChambeau caddy have a degree in Pythagoras?
Oh dear.
That was 6:06.
What were you saying?
I have no idea. Well, DeChambeau is like...
It's not the easiest to spell, but you've had a bash at it.
Is he a golfer?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
DeChambeau's a guy
Caddy's, I suppose, the clue, isn't it?
DeChambeau
Right.
is one of those guys who does everything scientifically. It's not like he's got an ordinary swing and this and that. It's all manufactured.
What's all that?
Well, that's a swing. That's a nice fluent swing. So he's one of these guys who does everything scientifically.
Yeah.
He's got his clubs made for a certain way. I mean, just everything he does is not by chance. And so that's why I was saying...
What a boring way to end extra time.
Imagine being his caddy. You're dealing with this guy. You'd have to be
how we missed those
genius.
insights, Stevie, on Twitter.
Yeah, that was probably about the latest I would tell anybody to look at any of my tweets. And then after that's...
Are you still on Twitter or X, as it's called?
I'm on nothing, no chance.
No, YouTube.
Yeah, that's it.
On YouTube.
That is it. That brings us to the end of today's show then. Thank you very much for joining us. Robbo's last day with us tomorrow.
It is.
You got anything planned for us?
Not really, no. Oh. What have you got planned?
I don't know. You could bring in a nice surprise, a thank you for looking after you all this time.
Well, I don't think you have looked after me, really, have you?
Well, there we go.
Make sure you wear a tie.
I will do next time.
That's it then. Goodbye.